Good morning, Pastor Hoover, Angie, Kristen, Travis, Dwight, and Donna, and family and friends of Don. On this celebration of Don's incredible life, I would have preferred to be with Angie and with Don's family and friends gathered here this morning in this beautiful cathedral at Hope Spring Church. When Angie asked me to say a few words about Don, I was deeply honored and not about to let a few things like COVID and travel restrictions prevent me from sharing a few thoughts with you. So this very low-tech video of a talking head is nonetheless from the heart, than if I could have been there to feel Don's presence and the love, warmth, and prayers of his family and friends. Donald Dean Deckard, husband, father, son, brother, grandfather, brother-in-law, father-in-law, police officer, claims adjuster, investigator, photographer, golfer, knife collector, gun collector, hunter, woodworker, person of faith, neighbor, and friend. This list personifies that during the course of his 74 years, Don was a man of great accomplishment and that he touched many people and many organizations in many meaningful different ways. I would ask that each of you now and during the course of this morning's celebration, join me in some directed imagery. I would ask that each of you close your eyes to think about the list I just read. Reflect back on your relationship with Don. Which one of these items defined your relationship with Don? Reflect back on, among other things, how you knew Don, a good story about Don, what you shared with Don, work, activities, values, or something else, what you wish you had done or not done with Don, what you would like to say to him now, or to borrow from the apprentice angel in James Stewart's film, It's a Wonderful Life, what would your life have been without Don? During the past several weeks, I have given what I call Don's List a great deal of thought and have come to one defining conclusion. Don Deckard was a Renaissance man. Don was a person of many relationships, he had many talents, and he was a man with many areas of knowledge. Don was successful at whatever he undertook, and he was a master of balancing work, family, and self. His substantial legacy will live on through his family, his relationships, and all that he undertook. My relationship with Don spanned some 30 years and involved many items from the list, but most of all, Don was my friend, my best friend, and my lifelong friend. We were neighbors and golf buddies for almost 20 of those years, and our relationship continued even though we were in different states for the last 10 years. It was a simple phone call to pick up where we left off, to catch up for me and for me to hear all the latest about Angie, Kristen, and Travis. How was Angie's job and retirement goals coming along? What about Kristen's personal training and MRI tech careers? What's the latest with Travis in the Air Force? And what about weddings and grandchildren? It was always with detailed pride. It was never about himself. Let me tell you a few things about Don as friend and neighbor. Don was everything he should be as a friend, as a neighbor, and more. He was giving, sharing, friendly, and protective, to name but a few. He took great pride in his home that he and Angie built in 1988 as one of the first in Willow Bend. His landscaping was immaculate. Angie had to hand wrestle him for garden space. As young kids, he would pay Travis and Kristen to harvest the pine cones from the grass. I'm sure the price was a matter of tough negotiation. Don designed and built a deck and gazebo overlooking the golf course as he did other home projects using his basement workshop. Angie recently got her granite countertops. But to really understand Don as friend and neighbor, you have to know about his garage and the storage space above the garage. It was a work of art to which a really nice home was attached. Boyle's third law was at work. Stuff will fill the space available. Don's do-over would have been to have a bigger garage. Again, a little directed imagery. In this garage and attic space were 2 cars, a motorcycle, a riding lawnmower, Christmas yard art, landscape equipment, bicycles, hunting equipment, and more tools and stuff than you can imagine. Some examples. We were replacing some carpet. Don, do you have a carpet stretcher? Yes. Do you have a carpet kicker? Yes. On another occasion, we were bringing in a heavy slab of marble. Don, do you have a piano mover? I think so. Let me look. Yes, I do. He not only had these evasive items, he would deliver them and help with the work. And more than one occasion, he would woodwork an item we needed for home maintenance. It was like having a neighborhood rent-a-center and your own handyman. It was 1-800-CALL-DON. I would be remiss if I didn't say a few words about Don the golfer. He was a good player and a strong competitor in tournaments. That in spite of what would be considered an unorthodox swing involving a backward step that would drop him off a cliff if one were to be a few feet behind him. It was his good hand-eye coordination that he relied on. Don did Travis a great favor by not getting young Travis to copy his dad's swing. Major Travis Deckert was the long-term beneficiary of some outstanding golf through the academy and his Air Force career. Whether doing a casual round or in a tournament or on a trip to Las Vegas, Don loved a good wager. And from personal experience, he won more often than not. He and Dwight even made up special cards to keep track of their daily wagers with Zinn, Boyd, and Topliff, among others. For the fun of it, Don would bet a quarter on just about anything while on the golf course. One day during cold weather when the ponds were frozen, he bet a quarter he could hit a golf ball lying out on the ice. He walked into the ice and hit the ball. Quarter won. Another ball, another quarter. Third ball, no quarter. Don fell through the ice. Fortunately, the winter water beneath the ice was shallow and consisted mostly of mud. He emerged cold, shivering, and covered with mud. He slugged his way home and had to discard the muddy, smelly clothes. He became a charter member of the Willow Bend Swimming and Diving Club. Anything for a quarter. On the last day of each year, Don and I would play what we called the quarter game. Everything was a quarter. Drives, putts, scores, etc. The result of which would be added to the year-long bets that accountant Don would keep track of. One year I won an actual quarter. Don paid off, but he drilled a hole in the quarter. I encased it in trophy, but each time Don watched our house while we were gone, he would hide it. You just couldn't get ahead of him. Don and I intended to replicate our quarter game while he and Angie were at Mayo Clinic for Don's extended treatment for esophageal cancer. Weather prevented the rematch, but my time with Don and Angie was amazing. As usual, Don did not talk about himself. He did not dwell on the weeks-long treatment he was undergoing, nor on what his future held through operations and more treatment. The focus was this incredible place called Mayo Clinic and all that it did for its patients. We toured the entire campus, including the building, which held the equipment for the proton radiation he was receiving, and the bell he would ring when the treatments were completed. I met their new friends, and we ate a first-class breakfast at the Canadian Honker restaurant. It was there that I bet Don he would not shave his head. Dumb bet, I lost. My short time at the Mayo with Don and Angie was extra special. I witnessed how special Don and Angie are. I witnessed their incredible faith and strength. Together they were taking on this unfair journey. My time with them will forever be kept in my heart. During my recent conversations with Angie, we shared a lot about Don, and I learned a lot about their time together. They met on a blind date in 1982 and married in 1985. After 3 years, she knew he was a keeper and considers the date and the past 40 years a blessing. They have achieved what I call a trilogy of an ideal marriage. They loved each other, they were in love with each other, and they were best friends. I asked Angie to tell me about the real Don, the Renaissance man after 37 years of marriage. What were his values? What was near and dear to him? What was close to his heart? These are what she said, and which I think we would agree that needed to be added to the Don list. Don had an incredible work ethic, which, together with his incompetence and keen intellect, was the basis of his success in his several careers. As a Wichita police lieutenant for 20 years until his retirement, a claims adjuster at Farm Bureau for 17 years, and most recently as an investigator with Devon James. Don loved his work as a police officer. It was his true vocation. He was reluctant to retire and did so only after a good deal of thought about his future and that of his family. Don got into claims adjusting, I think largely through Dave Topliff, mostly because Don was getting bored with retirement. His work as a police officer served him well. Typical Don, I never knew he received a National Claims Professional of the Year award while at Farm Bureau. Don's recent investigator time with Devon James was an ideal blending and as a capstone of his police and claims adjusting work. He was good at it, and he loved having Angie accompany him on out-of-town trips. What may seem a bit of a contradiction, Don was as strong and as tough as anyone, but he was a pacifist, largely from being reared by Mennonite parents. Probably from his police training, he had controlled emotions. I never saw him get mad, and he was reluctant to engage in an argument. Don was a devoted family man. He was an excellent provider through his jobs as a saver and as a pretty smart person in the stock market. I think that he and Dwight got that from their father. Don was supportive of whatever Angie, Kristen, and Travis undertook in school, in jobs, activities, and marriage. His support was challenged a bit over Angie's first objections to Travis thinking about the Air Force Academy. Angie would also tell you that throughout his life, Don was kind, thoughtful, temperate, analytical, and a futurist. He was an optimist and never complained, even about himself in recent years. He was stoic, but loved to talk, particularly about Kristen, Travis, and the new extended family and grandkids. Don was a person of faith, receiving comfort at New Spring Church and Pastor Hoover. I used to joke with Don that he was born with a diamond in his belly button. We knew, of course, that his good, full, successful life was because of his hard work, marriage, kind heart, and a lot of risk-taking. He lived the way he wanted. In the words of Frank Sinatra, I did it my way. That diamond lost a bit of its brilliance in the last couple of years as he and Angie battled 2 cancers. The last one took him from us, but he was a Renaissance man, and his legacy will live on through his family and all those he touched during the course of his short 74 years. Don passed as he lived, at peace and with family at his side. I've reflected a great deal about my friend Don while jotting these thoughts, our times together, our families, our conversations. I wish we would have spent more time talking about closure, about his days that were waning, what he would want us to do or think about. But it would have been in vain because, as always, it would be hard to get him to talk about himself. So I am being presumptuous in closing to speak on his behalf. What he might say to us at the celebration of a life well lived. He would tell us, love is rare, embrace it and don't let go. Anger is bad, shed it. Fear is not fun, but face it. Health is everything. Memories are lasting, make many of them. Relationships are important, cherish them, Family above all. Love is rare. Embrace it for the long haul. Life is short. Live it. Don Deckert's life was too short, but he lived at large. He will be missed by family and friends. Don, I miss you already. Who am I going to call? But I will see you on the other side, my friend. We will play the quarter game.